Hello and welcome to episode 13 of our Timberborn 1.0 full release playthrough here with the Folktales faction on the Down the Plug Hole map, cycle 18, day 16. Got a 6-day bad tide we're currently just started on. And of course, this absolute monstrosity you see before you is our new industrial area. Some of you have had some very strong opinions on how this has been organized, but that's okay. We'll get through it anyway. I really was hoping we could have a drought so I could tackle this bad tide diversion tunnel, but that does not seem to be the case. But what we do have the opportunity to do now, because it's a bad tide, is we have all of this extra bad water coming out of our drains here. And now, I, and at least a few of you guys as well, are very curious about... Oh, look at all this! Look at all this! Over 1,000 HP. That is absurd quantities of power from this. So, and of course, this one is only putting out a paltry 830. So suffice to say, when we get this expanded, that's going to be basically infinite power forever. But today is not the day, because obviously we can't send beavers in there. So what we can continue to do is get this somewhat organized. Just hit a K for kaboom on some of these. We'll put in our stairway up here. And then, of course, put in the rest of these paper mills, so on and so forth. So some of you who are much more math inclined have committed math on my behalf. And basically what it's boiled down to is, for our needs right now, this is complete overkill. And especially having 6 printing presses. However, we're not going to have 85 adults and 11 kits forever. We're going to have more beavers. We're also going to have bots. So it's very likely this may not be enough, at least for the lumber mills and the gear workshops. We're going to see. But basically every 3 hours, again, thanks to people committing math on my behalf, every 3 hours, a Folktales lumber mill will produce one... No, that's the wrong building. I can't even read if I'm looking at it. My God. All right, 2.4 planks every 3 hours is what this boils down to, and we have 6 of those. So every 3 hours, you can do the math on that. It is more than 12. And every 3 hours, we are consuming 6 for gear workshops. We'll have extra planks. We can also, put those in here. So we can support with this amount of lumber mills, and when I have the 6th gear workshop in here, we're not going to run out of planks. The challenge at that point becomes supplying the logs. But I don't think we have any cause to be worried. Just get the rest of this situated, let them build what they can build, and if they can't build it, well, then that's just the way the cookie crumbles. We've got a... yeah, okay, this one I definitely should have gotten rid of there as well. They'll get to it. We don't have any water flowing through here because, obviously, that was supposed to be kind of what these... Can I seriously not click on this? One of these wind turbines we're going to be doing. But we don't have any wind either. So that is a pretty good segue to the next thing we're going to have to do, which is get to these geothermal fields. We've got one here, and this is all going to get, taken out. We've got another one here. And then somebody said there was another one. Okay, it's right over here. So we can tie into those. No, it's not going to be a fast. No, it's not going to be today. But at some point, we probably do need to tie into those. And then we also need to get gravity batteries, which, depending on how you want to approach it, could be done a couple of different ways. I have very famously derided these things for a very long time because I think they're hideous. And then I build stuff like that. But I'd very much like not to have a giant tower obstructing the entire... everywhere on the map, so these things can get a little bit more out of them. I think it would probably make sense to do that from a, purely economical perspective. However, remember that this is going to give us over 1,000 HP per wheel while this is currently set up. Maybe it goes down a little bit when I make this 4 blocks wide. But if we have enough of these set up and we have them connected with power somewhere, then we're never going to have to worry about it again. It's not going to be an issue in the slightest. So I think we can pretty safely not worry about that ever. And we also really don't need to worry about stumps, but it seems to bother you guys enough for me to, you know, just remind you that the game just does this now. It gets rid of the stumps if you use the mark resources for demolition thing. I didn't want to do that with those trees, though, so let's fix that. So, you know, I'll throw you a bone, even though it really just doesn't matter. But, well, there you go. You get to see those things disappear. We are going to be replanting a lot of this. When we have the ability to get water, you know, sustainably supplied for all these different areas here, it's, again, it's episode 13. It's a huge map. We have a lot of things we can get to, and sustainable tree farming isn't necessarily on the top of my list. But it is on the list. We're just, you know, we're not quite there yet. I think it's much more important for us to have this actually operating sustainably. Right now we don't have any planks. That could also be because, you know, there's not any power coming through here. But it is what it is. I'm going to, considering how this is set up now, start the process, and I don't really have the materials to do this, but probably should start the process of relocating these things elsewhere. This centrifuge is outmoded by the two over here. We've got this that's been outmoded. We've got these that are now stuck over there. So if we were to just completely remove all of this, not only would that clean this area up substantially, it would allow us to get this connected maybe a little bit easier to everything over here. Because you know how it goes. If I get this down to here, yeah, I'm going to remove this because now those are connected. Even though we don't technically need it, I'm going to put this in here, right, like so. That'll get these all completely connected. And then we can take this out, we can take this out, and we can finally put these wheels in here. Let's just grab those, even though, you know, it really doesn't matter. Just grab those things so we don't have to worry about it. Stick that in here, let them build stuff, and just check in on that from time to time. This is ready to get K for kaboomed. Once we have a little bit more stable output of planks, because remember, these are paused over here, because I didn't really have enough beavers to be doing basically any of this. I think the time is now. Just get this completely removed. Just shove it all on the ground. Get things at least temporarily reconfigured here. Even if it is ugly and wrong, sometimes that's just how it has to be. Right now we are producing a pretty healthy amount. And I know we have these things on the ground, and that's artificially inflating the amount that we quote-unquote have over here. It's going to be okay. They'll get it picked up. We'll get it figured out. Not going to be a problem. As we continue getting back over here, because remember, we are wanting to put in a double-layered thing here, so we can have a sewer for the bad water on the bottom and some nice clean water on the top. We are going to want to come from this area over this way. And that means we're going to want to have at least one zipline station somewhere over here. I think maybe, depending on how we want to play this, paper mill-wise, 4 should be enough if we don't use all 6 of these printing presses. Which, you know, we may not, but I do think I still want to plan for the 6 and then work around maybe some other stuff. We've got a path that's here. I don't think it would be a bad idea to put in a zipline station, say, right here on that side to get that hooked up. Again, because we do have the ability to do that. And this could be a good opportunity to put in one of those spiral staircases, just because I think they're neat. And sometimes that is enough. And then that can be connected somewhere else. Right now this doesn't really have anywhere to go, but remember a long time ago we talked about fixing the zipline network and making it not quite as ridiculous. So, in that regard, I feel compelled to, at least for the time being, put a thing right here. And then get that hooked up so we at least have a direct connection to here, and then they can just step off onto that. Also, that's too far, and you can't do more than one. But it's fine. Gonna be okay. That is, did I did this wrong. That was also supposed to be taken out. And if I want to have another zipline station here, that probably would not be a bad idea. But we do need to get this connected to a geothermal field here. It needs to have power connected to it. Which makes me think, what else are we going to put back here? Because I know we were talking about putting in a smelter area. We could, should we choose to have a somewhat decent looking setup over here. We could put smelters along the backside. Now, are we going to need a ridiculous quantity of smelters? Objectively, no. But I think it would be smart for us to have a decent number of these things. Maybe we only need 4 super long term. If I did 4 of those, what else would I really need to put back here? Because we already talked about wanting to do the woodwork shop somewhere else, just because that was an opportunity to have stuff shipped down on the rafts. Which I have not forgotten about, by the way. Just want to make sure we have stuff set up properly before we get into it. Yeah, just want to make sure this is going to be popped in exactly the way I want it to. If I'm going to put another zipline station over here, which I don't really need to, but I feel like for the sake of symmetry I must. We can have them go different places as well. That's going to have to go here. It should still have enough height to go basically anywhere. Let's just do that. Let's make this happen. Put that there, and then on the back side here, this is buried into this spot. We can easily, well, easily being a relative term, get this hooked up, I guess. It probably doesn't really matter, but I'm going to put 2 in. And we're going to put in a vertical power shaft in this block and then just build on top of those. Just make sure everything's connected. And then that's going to give us a little bit more leeway to get connected to this geothermal field. And then gravity batteries somewhere in this area. But here's cycle 19. We're about to have water coming back through this once again. And hopefully sometime in the next little bit we're going to have a drought so I can come over here and take care of this. But we're not there. We will get there in due time. We just have to, you know, let it be what it's going to be. Okay, for kaboom. Okay, this, the way this is set up, because I haven't put anything here yet, I did want these to match. There were some competing suggestions on how this is supposed to be handled. I haven't really fully figured out what I'm doing with that yet. But I do know that this is not going to actually connect to anything because somebody didn't put it in the right spot. I'll let you figure out who that somebody was. But I'm thinking I probably actually can't connect this the way that I wanted to because of how this was hooked up here. Now that I know that was in the way that was supposed to be. Aw, no way that works. Really? That feels like that shouldn't be allowed. Oh, okay, well, it's fine. We're just not going to worry about it. That's going to get that taken care of. And now that that's there, I do, again, to get over beyond anything, we still have to send the beavers there. We can't forget about that. So I guess now that I already have the stairs here, might as well. Even though I was going to put something there. What's going to be the best way to do this? Because I do want to be able to get up to other spots. I'll just do that way, it's easiest. It's going to be the least intrusive way to do that. Well, I know for a fact I do not need berries, basically ever. The trees, however, trees can be cut down. That's fine. I just have to have somewhere for these guys to, you know, sit here and grab those from. Yeah, I'll just mark all of this as cuttable until it is no longer an option. We'll get to it. I will clean up this other side here so that doesn't look quite so horrible. And that's going to get us into the geothermal field, which of course we do want to build as fast as possible. Getting the power over here, not necessarily going to be a super easy thing, at least to make it look nice. But it doesn't have to be a huge problem, because what we can do, since I'm going to be clearing this area out anyway, that would be to get to the front of this. I'm going to leave that. Because I do need to have that in place in the front there. Let's go with that. That'll get that nice and even across. Maybe I want to bury it here. Let's see. You know, doing tunnels is annoying. What's not annoying is blasting a hole and then filling in the parts of it you don't want to have a hole anymore. I guess tangentially related, this is why some mass transit projects takes a super long time to build, because they won't just cut a hole and put a top back on it when they're done. But that gets into theory that I don't fully understand, and I will be absolutely massacred if I do it wrong, so we're not going to go there. Let's see, let's put in that and that. We've got, I think... Yeah, see, that'll be great if I just have it set like that. I'm just alternating these so they look a little bit better. See, this, you know, this doesn't look horrible. I've certainly made things that look much worse. I'm going to take that one out, though, because I think what's going to happen here is, for the sake of getting this all connected, I'm going to need to, first of all, decide if I'm going to be doing any tunneling here ever for any reason whatsoever. I believe the answer to that question is no. But it's going to be easiest for me to just, you know, do this in a way that is not going to be completely stupid first, and then figure the rest of it out later. I also probably don't need to keep all of this terrain set up like this. We'll kind of smooth this out. Maybe to just this spot to begin with. Yeah, I'll just get that cleared out. I think that's going to be fine. It's going to make it a little easier for us to do what we want to do here. No, I forgot they were actually going to build that. Oh well, I told them to do it. I can't get mad about it. We're going to need to get these other things going as well, but I want to make sure this is connected. This other one, that's a something for some other time. I need to put in some sort of gravity battery apparatus. Now, I do have some other ideas. We can, since this is on, what level is this? 6. I could just, you know, attach 2 right here, blast a little cavern here, and that would be minimally visually obtrusive and give us some amount of power storage. But remember, I did also say I wanted to get the flywheels mod and utilize that, since apparently that is supposed to be working in 1.0 now. Just need to make sure they get the rest of this stuff popped in. I think we are just going to have to wait a little bit of time for that. What else? What are we waiting on to do all of this? Logs, planks, and gears. Well, I think I'll hold off until this power is all connected first, and then we'll go from there. What are we waiting on here? Just beavers? Okay. Need to build more beaver housing, beaver storage, whatever you want to call it. I feel like beaver storage is more of an Iron Teeth thing versus the Folktales, who have, come to the mutual understanding that, maybe beavers are a little bit more than just a number on a page. Oh, come on. It's at 90%. Thank you. Okay. Nobody get exploded, all right? K for kaboom. All right, so now this is maybe a little bit short-sighted on how I put this in, but it's going to be okay. This now to get what I want done. Maybe I do want this to all be brought down. So this should definitely be triples here, but this could probably be doubles. No, that needs to be singles at the very least. Yeah, this can all be singles. This actually should have been a double, but it's already put in, so that's fine. What's this one at? 43%? We are not waiting around for that thing to be done. I just need to start burying things, and they can't get to this because somebody made a bad choice. I'll let you figure out who that was. Wonder if it's worth putting in a... No, I'll just wait for this to get blown up and then fix it. And come on. Come on, you know you want to. There you go. Get that thing out of here. Let's get this taken care of and move on. Just have to wait for somebody to pop in here. There we go. Okay, K for kaboom. And now I have access to this, but we should, since we got a pretty good idea what we're doing here. Go ahead and get that popped in place there. Get that popped in place here. Yeah, because it's going to have on top of it. The rest of this is... Actually, this doesn't need to be that. This can be easily... Come on, there we go. Be one of those. K for kaboom. Then this has to be a double. That goes there. And to get terrain on top of this, we don't need to put platforms. You can if you want, but we don't need to be doing that. I will wait until the power shafts are put in place because that is the only way they're going to actually get built. So that means that the smelter that will go here will be incredibly load-bearing for power purposes. And that will be about the best we can do at this point in time to get the rest of this taken care of. We'll just have this maybe excavated a little bit more. Not entirely sure. I know that's something we'll have to worry about at some point later on. So that actually does not allow me to do anything here. So, new plan. No, you stop that. Somebody made a mistake. I'll let you figure out who that was. I need to have this go down one more level. Which means probably the easiest way to handle this is to just put stairs there. But I need this to go down one more level so that I can actually have it hidden underneath everything and it not be a huge pain. We're getting there, one step at a time. I appreciate your patience. But yeah, I might as well, first of all, scroll down here and see if there's anything I'm going to... Ooh. Okay, so that's going to be this tile right here. Well, you know what? What do I care if it has water in it? I think it's going to be fine. Let's just, for the benefit of everybody involved, just suck it up and pop some gravity batteries in there. Alright, ready to go. K for kaboom. Now that becomes that. That becomes that. That becomes that. Let's get those put in. Oh, I almost detonated this while we had beavers building the gravity batteries. Come on. There we go. Alright, so now I can K for kaboom. These have a capacity of 10,000 here. That takes us down to level 3. So this won't give us a ton, but it will give us something. And it's not something that's going to look so heinously ugly that it causes me to never want to do this again. It's just a thing that exists. So, you know what I've done is I've blocked myself from actually being able to do the same thing over here. Okay, alright, well. Here's what's going to happen. That is 2 blocks down. Let's go for Broek. Let's do this. Let's have it come in the front side here, because I do still want to be able to do that. Alright, not worth detonating this yet until they get the rest of it. I'm sorry. Like, look, I really am. I'm trying. I genuinely am. You won't get this with anybody else. Or maybe you do, I don't know. I don't have time to watch everybody. Okay, for kaboom. So that allows me to just get this on this side. Get this removed. Oh, of course, they're not going to be able to actually build this yet. That doesn't have to go there. So what has to happen here, this is already actually kind of conveniently done. I guess I just get to babysit this now. I do want that to be done. I want that to be refilled, which means that goes up to that direction. That should be okay. I guess this is what I have to work with here? Probably? No, I don't want that to be exploded. I want that to be exploded. What am I doing? That needs to be a sturdy base upon which the gravity batteries can be placed. Alright, so at least that one is finished. Before I confuse myself even more, I'm going to put this in here so we know we can, actually have that ready to go. That connected there. I wonder if it's worth having this come around the back side. Or possibly, you know what? Why don't we do one of these numbers where we actually have this connected to this zipline station, and then this one can go somewhere else. This just gives us another doorway. We have the ability, so why not? We also, don't have to have these connected. We can remove that connection and then have this go like a V shape somewhere. I wonder if that would go... It probably wouldn't go across this side. We'll see what happens. Anyway, this finally is, as far as I can tell, actually good to go. Does that connect to the bottom of this? Did I actually do that correctly? Yes, okay. Then that's there. Should be all connected to all of this. That's... Now that says only 400. But that should be connected to... Oh, these aren't built yet. That's why. What am I doing? Saying that an alarming frequency these days. That should be okay. I think. Maybe. This is ready to get exploded. Does that get me all the way down to where I want to be? No, I counted wrong. Alright, well. That's, maybe that's for the best. What's our, 14,000? Alright, I can live with that. It's going to prevent contamination from being an issue, too. It's fine. It's fine, we'll be okay. I'm saying it as much for my benefit as I am yours. That is going to come all the way across here. That is going to be, I suppose, if I'm going to do the same exact thing here, which I can already hear you now. Why in the world are you doing this? That doesn't make any sense. Look. I have my reasons. They might not be good ones, but I do have them. Did I? I did. Alright. Look. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. All right. Did I put doubles on this one? I think I did, yeah. I guess I just need to have them do this one first. Metal blocks, at least we're making those again. We're not making them very quickly because... Oh, never mind. Where is that getting... 'Cause this isn't actually connected to anything. Where does it say... Oh, the supply is 400 out of 800. Never mind. Okay. Okay. Alright. Now, this is the part where I just need to be put in a home. Let's get this K for kaboomed. Do I don't have that? No. Let's do that instead. Okay, now what has to happen here? Well, I shouldn't say what has to happen. Say what's going to happen. We're waiting on more metal blocks to get made. Well, we have all that kind of squared away. These, unfortunately, do also require metal blocks, so this is going to be kind of in a state of nonsense for a little while. I think probably it's going to be best for us to leave this alone for a little bit and go do something else. Tree farming is, I guess, occurring over here. Seems to be doing alright. We need to have some sort of irrigation that's actually sustainable over here. This is gone probably, even though I know there's probably better ways to do this. I'm just going to choose to do this over here. Just let that be what it's got to be. Try to save some of this area when it comes down to pollution and all that. I guess it's probably, you know, a spot like right about here maybe might be a good place to do a 3x3. We could put on a fluid dump and a forester right about here. That would give us a pretty good coverage even during pollution events. Yeah, 'cause that'll go about 10-15 that way, 10-15 that way, and then we do have this over here. Technically, it's not doing a ton of stuff. But it seems to be okay. Oh, good! We have a drought coming in. I cannot resist seeing the mess that's happening over here. Okay, we're just going to leave that alone. This is what we were waiting for, folks. A drought to finally come in here, widen this tunnel, and let these guys actually get something accomplished here. I don't think there's any way for them to do what they're wanting to do. Easiest way to accomplish this is to put in on this level a tunnel all the way to the outside and then blast it down. That is going to be the easiest way to do this. Now, to get over here, I have to have a way for the beavers to get down, which is going to be actually not as much of a problem as I thought. This doesn't need to be a tunnel, actually. But it's probably going to be easiest to... No. No, no, no. I'm not going to overcomplicate this any more than it has to be. That is going to go there. I just need to be able to get down. So that can be a regular staircase. That can be a regular staircase, and then this here. No reason for it to be one of these, but I like them, so I'm going to do it that way. That's actually worse. Never mind. We'll just go straight. That'll connect there. This should not infect any beavers. It should not be possible, which, of course, means it's going to happen. But this will allow them, assuming I monitor this effectively, to get in here, get this all the way across, blast it out, and then we'll be okay. Now, there is one more thing that we do have to do in order to take full advantage of what's happening here, and that is to have power connected to everything. The way these buildings are set up, it's going to make the most sense to come in on this side and do that. I just worry about how this is going to actually work. It's probably going to make the most sense for us to just have this also be a tunnel. But I'm not going to blast out the bottom of this. This is just going to be backfilled painstakingly with power shafts, probably one piece at a time. that may end up being a time lapse. But this doesn't have to be done during a drought. This does. So we do have to kind of put a little bit of a prioritization on this. And then probably sit here and watch this for a little bit. But you know how it goes. We still have 15 vacancies. I've got 3 with nothing to do in range. Who are they? Okay, you can be paused. You can be paused. You can also be paused. The rest of this is probably fine. I know we were going to mess with this. That's not mission critical at this exact moment in time. But since we're already here, it's K for kaboom. I just need one of those, need one of those. Then I need one of those. Then I need one of those. Make sure this is... we'll have that go that way. This is going to allow us to have a lot of trees. All farmable over here, except I don't need that to be a thing. I definitely don't need that to be a thing. Alright, I'm going to put this in single speed mode just so I can actually have this functional before I get too excited here. I'm going to leave this open for probably just lumberjack flags because the space is already kind of there. 4 of these should be good enough. Minimum priority job. We could automate this if we felt like it. That's going to be easy enough. This will need a tank. Well, need is a strong word. It would be nice for that to have a tank. Now we got 0.1 days left. Have we gotten this in place? Just about. Is this ready to get exploded? No, it is not. Alright, well this is now our main interest. You know what? Actually, this doesn't have to be done exactly this way. Well, you know, it kind of does. It's going to be easiest for us to build the wheels in here if the beavers can actually get down without dying. So I suppose we're just going to have to see what happens. But as soon as all this bad water is out of here, it's only a 5-day drought, so maybe that's not worth worrying about. Well, I'm going to do my best anyway. That's all you can do. Alright, this is... Oh, come on. This is dry, right? I do believe it is. Okay, now the fun begins. What if I just put that there, and then, now I know that's not going to allow them to do anything here, especially if we're building from the top, but what this can do is this can allow these beavers to focus on getting these tunnels done, and these beavers can come in as soon as things get exploded and start building wheels, which hopefully is not going to be a huge pain in the butt. We're going to see. We are going to see. And what I'm going to have to do here is I'm going to have to time-lapse this so that I can put all 1% of my actual functioning brain power into getting this assembled without having to narrate over the top of it and possibly make mistakes. So you get to see that process at this moment in time, and then we'll catch back up at the end of the drought and see if I was actually able to do it. Alright, so this has gone very poorly. Let's hit pause, mostly because I do not want to poison my beavers. I don't think there's anybody down here, but yeah, I'm going to have to physically remove this connection. Because I realized halfway through, well, that's not why I have to remove it, but I realized halfway through them, you know, struggling to do this. One, I don't have enough beavers because I had 19 vacancies, and I wasn't going to move the camera during the time-lapse because that just makes ugly video. Nobody wants that. But then I realized, you know what? They're not going to be able to build this basically at all from up here until I blast this out. So I might as well do something while I still can. Which is why we have 2 wheels here. And we have all the parts for this one, and we have some of the parts for, you know, a few more of these. But yeah, this was just not going fast enough. So now that I've made it so that these beavers are not going to be poisoned, we can, you know, go back to that being what it needed to be. And we can launch kind of a two-pronged attack here. Let's go K for kaboom. I need to have a tunnel here so I can get to the other side. That's going to be what it's going to be. But this area over here has kind of become, as many of you suspected it would, a problem. I'm going to pause all but one of these gear things because we have 927. If I pause this one, I will not remember to turn it back on. So I'm just going to have to take the L and leave it like that. This can be K for kaboomed. That should get me to the correct level here. This is still not finished because we don't have enough metal blocks. We don't have enough metal blocks because this has taken us sweet time, and now we are out of scrap metal. Stop me if you've heard this one before. We do have scrap metal available here. It is just extremely slow going. I don't have enough beavers to run all of this stuff. But it's not as bad as you think because we do have both of these set up to be kind of an overflow deal. I think we're okay. Maybe. This is not yet finished because, you know, they were told to go build other things first. Yeah, we just need more beavers. So now, man, I really don't like this. I gotta find somewhere to put beaver housing. That's why I generally don't end up building like that, but I don't know what else I can reasonably do. The way that this has been put in is just not good. I maybe could move these tanks around and put some more housing in, but I think maybe the best thing for right now, as not interesting as it is, let's just put a couple more of these things in here and deal with the consequences later. Let's just get these. I think that's probably fine to add another 6 beds. And we can still come back over here. This is not, it's not like dead forever. It's just one of those things that now is just a little bit more annoying to babysit. But at least we did get it started. Right? That is an important thing. They're not going to be able to get into this. That's, you know, it's going to be one of those things. Let's let that be what it's going to be. But in most respects, this is going reasonably well. And now this is about to be irrigated. That does get all the way over here, and it gets to about here, which I think is pretty good. So now we are planting some more trees. Those will mature in 30 days. This, again, part of the 16 vacancies thing. Not a big deal. It just looks like a big, scary number. But in reality, all it means is we just have a few fewer builders. If that's even the correct way to say that. Okay, so this is working. This is somehow also working. Still discharging because this is not connected, but now it is. Oh, yeah, look at that. These things are just rocketing upward. Yeah, super fast. So that does work. I'm going to pause these for now, and I'm going to pause 2 of those for now, just so we don't have to keep worrying about it. Having 4 lumber mills right now is probably fine. I think that is okay. Let's come back over here. This is, for better or for worse, probably going to need to be the thing that we continue working on. So yes, I'm going to time-lapse this again. Because what else am I supposed to do? I just need this to make some sort of progress so that we can, you know, say we got something good done this episode. So I'm going to continue to try and get this accomplished. And I'll speak with you in a moment, and we'll talk about what exactly happened. Alright, well that took 800 billion years. But now we do have a whole bunch of these things that previously were making a lot more than 7,800 HP together. I got the achievement for 10,000 HP. You couldn't see it because I don't have the OBS set to pick up everything that shows up on the screen, just this game. But I would imagine, based on when that showed up, this is probably making between 14 and 15,000 HP during peak flow. Obviously right now, since we're about to head into a drought, ironically, we're about to see this go down to 0. But I'm feeling really good about this being a substantial part of our permanent power generation. Except during droughts. That's where gravity batteries and flywheels and all that come in. So that is one of the major projects I wanted to make sure I got done today. I did, if you paid attention. put this underneath, and then connect it up to the underside of the centrifuge. So that's looking good. Excuse me. And now we have this mess to contend with. I'm going to go ahead and unpause all of this construction, just because, well, we need it to be done. Then I have to put this in place, get that hooked up. We've got, that's not tab, that's caps lock. That's the wrong button. Also, what am I doing? We do have some storage for books, for punch cards, and for paper. And since we're not currently really using much, everything's just kind of out of whack here. But I do think this is about as good of a setup as I can reasonably do right now. We need more scrap metal. That's something we can continue to work on in a little bit here. I'm going to get that connected to that. Again, we don't have to have this little tiny connection here. I just think it's, right now, probably a little bit easier to just do it that way. But this is going to round this out pretty nicely. I need to unpause this. And again, it's a long-term thing that we're not quite all the way into yet. They can continue working on that. We did get this started. Got a few more oaks I can plant here. I'm feeling pretty good about most of this. Obviously, on this other side here, I can still plant some trees. Surprisingly, even underneath the zip lines, I forgot how high those actually were. That's got range actually all the way out to here. What about... okay, well... Consider me thoroughly surprised. Let's get these marked. I think that was the maximum range. Yep, there we go. Okay, I feel pretty good about that. Let's get that taken care of. Let's unmark here. I don't think it really matters. Someone made a comment saying that, oh, maybe you can improve your frame rate if you get rid of the stumps. I'm getting 300 frames per second. I don't think it makes a difference, just to be perfectly honest, but you know how this tends to go. Okay, that's empty. That can get removed. I hadn't bothered checking, but... oh, wait, I think maybe I did. We probably should have a mine, seeing how the rest of this is pretty picked clean, minus a couple spots. This was one of those things that, you know, maybe I was going to have in a rafting situation. I don't know that it's that big of a deal at this exact moment in time, but I'll tell you what I will do is I will put in a couple more scavenger flags here. Help them grab this just a little bit faster. In fact, I will move these to be closer up here. Just to make it that much quicker. I think that's fine. We did add some more beavers, so the population gap is, well, it's not perfect, but it's getting better. This is progressing. I mean, we do have permanent 800 HP generation because of these geothermal engines. We do technically have some gravity batteries. And we have the windmills. So in theory, this is better than it has been. I know it's not perfect, but it's something. And I think we can be pretty pleased with a lot of that. Like I've said time and time again, this is a process that does, in fact, take a very, very long time. But it's going to be worth it in the end. And I believe we are going to really enjoy the fruits of our labor once we get around to actually finishing everything. So I'm going to put in some dams here just so we can retain a little bit more water. Let's make sure we can get beavers over here. That's not even on the same level. What am I doing? That is a tree that I cannot get rid of unless I'm on that level. Okay, well, here's what's going to have to happen is this is going to have to get exploded. I'm going to have to put some stairs in. And then they'll just have to build that from there. Or actually, no, you know what? Let's not do that there. Let's do this. Let's actually fill this in here. I guess I can just kind of leave that, but I wanted this to be a thing where I could have all the way across here. maybe even do... Yeah, let's do one of these numbers. I do still have to get that exploded, but I am going to make this a more permanent spillway thing. Just have to let these guys do what they're going to do. I think that's worth seeing how this has gone so far. It's worth putting in a path here. So we can start building this from both sides, should we actually be able to get this accomplished. Retain a little bit more water up here. I don't think this actually goes anywhere down here. I think it's just a hole. And yeah, it's just a hole. But this will help, especially since we have, you know, this as our foolproof bad water prevention device. I think that's fine. See, I also want to plant trees all over all of these places, but I just can't quite get there yet. So we'll let that be what it's going to be. It shouldn't let me do any of this until they build everything else. This maybe should have been a station, but it's not. We'll deal with that maybe later. Yeah, getting power from here to here is going to be annoying. I did see the comments you guys saying, hey, we'll just build a tunnel. Tunneling with the folktales for power stuff. Like, you remember the live stream playthrough? What happened with that? Well, that's Iron Teeth anyway, but it took so long to put that in. The only reason I really did that in the Ember Pelts playthrough is because, one, the Ember Pelts have the extra blocks that allow them to do tunneling in tubeways in the same tile at the same time, without having to have some other outside access. And that is such a huge improvement. I don't even know that it's possible to quantify it. Oh, I don't even have recipes chosen for these yet. That's punch cards, that's books. I think we had decided that I was going to have 2 for punch cards and 4 for books, but obviously we don't need all of them to be running at the same time. So those staying paused is probably okay. This doesn't have power because it's not connected to anything that actually has power. Just waiting on metal blocks, which we've already established is kind of a problem until we have everything else fixed. Surely they can... Are these on a different level? Is that what the problem is? Or is this just slow? No, they're just slow. Okay. Well, to a certain extent, that does make me feel a bit better. And this is... Okay, this is actually kind of progressing here. Okay, they're just slow. And I'm going to detonate this and pop in some stairs. They should be able to do something here. I honestly should have changed this to a station, but at this point I'm not going to bother with it. Then this, I think these middle 2, based on the flow here, middle 2 can be floodgates set to like 0.95, and that would really honestly be enough. Just let them do what they gotta do. Planting trees, we can extend this. I do have access down here. If I put stairs a little bit closer, like right here, yeah, that's going to give me a decent bit. There's going to give me all of this. Okay. See, that's what gets interesting when you have all these other levels in play. That very quickly becomes a compelling thing. I don't know... Oh. Well, there's your problem. Let's not do that. Okay, so that's barely going to give us anything, but you know, it's something. Even if it's barely anything, it is in fact still something. Let's see exactly where that's going to reach. Survey says nowhere. I feel like that's not correct, but that's fine. I guess we just have to wait. And we're looking over here. Okay, they've actually made some reasonable amount of progress. I will just... Yeah. I don't foresee a situation where we're ever going to have stuff coming out this way. How long have I been... Oh, God, I've been recording for way too long. Alright, well, we're going to have to end this episode pretty quick here. But I did feel compelled to try and get a few more things accomplished. I know it's Not always a fast process getting these things done, but I do want to make sure we can get all of it. Okay, one more of these. Oak trees, same kind of deal. Same kind of deal here. And then I guess I have that. So we'll get caught up with that in due time. That's waiting on the dirt. Yeah, we'll get the rest of this cleaned up. Let's just get rid of these trees here. We don't need to worry about that. Yes, I know we have scrap metal here. I could harvest, or I could leave in place as some sort of a ruined city memorial. That was a suggestion somebody made I thought might be kind of fun. We'll see. But on a map this big, there's always stuff that I'm just not able to reasonably do within an economical time frame of one of these video series. Is the usually the past well, I guess honestly the past maybe 15 or 20 series that I've done, most people tap out at about episode 7 or 8. But there is a pretty vocal contingent of folks who stick around to the very end. So I need to find a balance between trying to make the most out of the time that makes sense, and also making sure that the people who are actually sticking around for everything feel like they are, well, most people aren't paying for this, but getting their money's worth, so to speak. So we'll get that popped in there. I don't need this to be in here anymore. Is that all of those? Okay, let's plant some more trees. I don't think they can plant this because it's not irrigated enough, but it will be when the time comes. That's feeling pretty good. I guess I can put this other floodgate here. 3 wide is, I think, going to make the most sense. Even though it really doesn't matter. Once that's done, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll take... Nope, can't do it now. Get out of there. They just immediately turned around. If I close this in, then they cannot become silly billies. They have to actually walk as stuff gets built. Let's just permanently set this 0.95. I don't think it's going to cause any floods, but it is going to keep this area nice and irrigated, even with some evaporation, you know, as does tend to happen. But I got to end this episode, or this is going to be just unbelievably, unacceptably long. I appreciate you guys sticking with it. I appreciate the patience as we work through things slowly. And I do hope you are still enjoying what we're doing, even though it's not really going as fast or as good as I personally think it should. We'll get there. We'll get there. So, as always, Beard Booster folks make it possible to keep doing these videos exactly the way I'm doing them. Whether that remains a good thing or not is up for discussion. But I want to do things without having sponsors, without having to do algorithmic manipulation nonsense or brain rot, TikTok, whatever. I just want to have fun playing the game, and I want you guys to enjoy what we're doing. So if at any point you think, you know, this isn't good, or we should improve this or whatever, please do always feel free to leave your feedback. I can't always incorporate everybody's suggestions. That's just how that works. But I do always read comments, and I do genuinely consider all of the input you guys have on these things. But that is all the time we got for this one. We're going to come back to this series in a couple days and talk about, hopefully, some more mods and stuff we can add in here to enhance what we're doing and get things going with the raft stuff sooner rather than later. But yeah, that's all I got for this one. Stay safe, have fun, and we'll see you again soon. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.